Welcome to Pop Culture Paradox, theories nobody asked for. Today we ask the question, whatever happened to Glamourcon, the annual convention in Chicago and Los Angeles that brought together Playboy Playmates, penthouse pets, and all sorts of people from the fringe.
Welcome to Pop Culture Paradox. My name is Dwayne Walker, and I want to go back in time to the 90s. Back in the 90s, there were these shows that would take place in Southern California and in Chicago called Glamourcon. And that is where you would meet a variety of different women who were pinups, burlesque stars, stars of B-movies, and in general, and even some people who were simply models. There was Mara Nuri, who of course was Vampira, who appeared in Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. When I first went there, I saw Lana Clarkson. I saw her at Glamourcon, and she was alive at the time. She hadn't yet been killed by Phil Spector. Kitten Natividad was there. And Dita Von Teese, before she got involved with Marilyn Manson, and really before she even had her Vegas show. I got to see her behind a table at Glamourcon where she was giving autographs for probably $10, $20 or whatever at the time. I'm sure an autograph from her is a little bit more expensive now. And of course there were a number of Playmates that was there. And the main reason I was there was because I was working with a photographer named George Mativia in Long Beach, California. And he had done some work for me, and of course eventually I wound up videotaping some of the sessions he did with the models to help him advertise himself. But eventually I did that to help him get more attention at Glamourcon, because here's what happened at Glamourcon. While there were Playboy Playmates there, as well as Penthouse Playmates and those from Hustlers, eventually all the Playboy Playmates began to dominate. That Glamourcon started to become more and more dependent on Playboy Playmates. And it got to the point at one show, all the Playmates were in the center, and then everyone else who was not a Playmate was on the edge. And as we sat at the table, all we could see was the back of people, the heads of people as they walked by, because all the attention was on the Playboy Playmates. None were looking at the people from the B-movies or from the comic book sales. They had comic books about the lives of some of the adult film stars like Haya Pishali and Rebecca Bardot and all. And you saw a lot of the heads on the back. So what we did was we shot more sessions of him and his models. And then one of the models came and she had a riding crop and she started just spanking people for, keeping their heads. So, hey, we're back here. And of course they would turn their heads and then they would look at us. And anyway, it was fun for a while. Then, of course, eventually things started happening. The recession happened from 2008, and I wound up backing away from a lot of that. Of course, George spent his time in Long Beach shooting models and basically trying to get by. The technology was changing, and he was losing his sight. And unfortunately, because he worked with film and things are going into digital, he really couldn't transfer to digital very well. It was almost like Boogie Nights, where Boogie Nights was talking about how the transition from film into video changed the industry. In his case, it was a transition from shooting in film to shooting in digital. And I tried to help him, but he was around 80 years old at the time, and he just didn't want to learn any new tricks. And then eventually he passed away around 2012. And then I moved out here to Vegas. But I was wondering whatever happened to Glamourcon, and I'm finding that their last entry was around 2015. I'm not finding any articles or anything online that are explaining why Glamourcon stopped. I did find a Facebook page from Glamourcon where they're saying, hey, I think I got an investor. We may be able to do Glamourcon again, but of course that hadn't happened. My guess is that Glamourcon's downfall began when Playboy had their downfall. And if you may remember, at one point Hugh Hefner transferred the managerial duties of the company to his son Conrad Hefner. And then Conrad did some experiments, like the first 2 or 3 issues that he had. We're not going to have them naked. Now they would be from behind. You would see them naked from behind, but you wouldn't see any full frontal nudity or anything like that. And then of course he changed his mind because they just weren't selling the magazines. And then the prices went up. Usually they were started out like $4.95, then they went to like $10, $12, and eventually $20. And then they just stopped publishing and they started doing only digital. So you can, the only way you can see any Playboy products now is online. So, and recently, Conrad did make an attempt to try to purchase Playboy back from the stockholders, but they wouldn't sell. So I think that because Glamourcon was so invested in the Playmates, and then after Playboy's fall, that really spelled the end of Glamourcon. But that doesn't mean it's over, because there is a possibility that if Glamourcon returns, they can go back to how they were when I first went there, where nobody was superior to the other. Everybody was there. You had the Playmates, of course, but they're not around anymore. But you had the burlesque queens. You had the pinup models. And you had a variety of different people. If it does come back, I think that's ultimately what you would see. Now, you wouldn't really see porno stars. And I know a lot of people like to equate porno with Glamourcon, but the porno people, they had the Consumer Electronics Show here in Vegas. And they had the Adult Video Exposition, or Lifestyles, or LA Erotica, or something like that. So Glamourcon was really kind of cotton candy, kind of soft core. It wasn't the hardcore like pornography. But in any event, if they do come back, and I certainly hope they do, it's probably going to have to be leaning more on the burlesque or the pinups. But I do still have, even though George is no longer with us, I do still have some videos that I shot of George. And you can see them on my Substack, and there's a link in the description. It's dwaynewalker.substack.com. And of course there you can see some of the videos that we did show at Glamourcon to get people to look at us instead of the Playmates. And go ahead and take a look at that. In fact, you should see How to Photograph Happy Naked Ordinary Women, which is a book that George wrote. And so I called the movie that. And it's just a combination of videos that we shot that eventually we showed at Glamourcon to get people's attention. So you can still see this on my Substack. Go see that movie. You can see the Substack on the description of this page, as well as on the preview of this video. Thank you for watching Pop Culture Paradox. And if you liked what you see, please subscribe to this channel and like this video and come back for more.